Well, hello for everyone, good evening and welcome to Inside Line Racing. We are here in the old city of Baku in Azerbaijan for round 4 of season 6 in ILR1, and we have got an interesting race coming up. So as you can see there, the drivers out on circuit at the moment on the intermediate tyres. I've been told on good authority, I hope, that the qualifying session is going to be fully wet, and then the race is going to be at the dry to start off with, and then it's going to transition to wet running towards the end of the race, which is going to be a bit of a conundrum for the drivers. Do they go out there now with a wet setup on and gamble on the good qualifying position to be strong at the end of the race, or do they throw qualifying away and focus on the fact that a large part of this race is going to be run in the dry? Most of these drivers would not have expected this weather front. A lot of the practice would have been done in the dry, so it's going to throw a few curveballs out there for some of these drivers. You can see a majority of the field are now out there on outlaps. So this will be a true test of skill and ultimate concentration as these drivers do battle around a super quick street circuit. Sectors 1 and 3 sees long straights and 90-degree corners, with Sector 2 finding confined spaces and one-line traffic through the infamous castle section. Accidents can and have happened at pretty much every corner, and one snatched break will see you in the wall and potentially out of this race. You don't necessarily need to be the quickest here for a positive result, but being one of the cleanest will reap rewards. The track length is just over 6 kilometres in length, with 20 challenging corners, 11 to the left and 9 to the right, with turns 8 to 12 containing the before mentioned castle section. Drivers can easily outbrake themselves at turns 1, 2 and 3, especially if they're busy battling cars around them. Turns 15 at the top of the hill is also a challenge, so don't be surprised to see a car in the wall there at some point. Turn 16 is vitally important as this leads on to the high speed run to the finish line, with speeds expected to be well over 200 mile an hour. And already we can see some cars have been in the wall. Oh, we've got a Renault here. This is Aaron Collingwood, and is it Lickle? I don't think it was Lickle. I think it might have been the second Haas driver of Gonanen. Lickle's off the circuit at the moment. Aaron Collingwood has tripped over the second Haas car, who made a mistake just ahead of him in the castle section. And this is what I mean, it's such a challenging circuit here that people are going to be making mistakes and potentially tripping over everyone else as well. There'll probably be plenty of reports coming in at the end of this race. Aaron, I believe, has got a damaged front wing. He's also got a Red Bull behind him as well. So this is going to be a very chaotic qualifying session for all of these 20 drivers. They scrabble for grip and to try and find some track space for themselves. ILRT Rafa, after the disappointment of the Chinese race last week, finishing 11th outside of the points, currently on provisional pole. He was caught up in a qualifying incident with Truesdale, who is going to be serving a qualifying ban for tonight. So Truesdale will be starting this race at the back of the field. We'll just filter through to see a few other drivers at the moment as well. Rafa, the only person out there at the moment then that has set a lap time. So Truesdale has a qualifying ban. There's no other penalties to talk about. No one's got any time extensions at the end of this race or anything like that. So it looks like then at the moment that Louis is now up there in provisional pole, as we now bring up the lap data just to see what everyone is doing. So Louis currently on provisional pole with a 48.7, Rafa second place 49.2, LR Pog and ILRT Lickle, I should say, in 4th place, but Lambo has just moved up there with 52.275. It's me then currently negotiating the castle section. Oh, he's clipped the wall there by the looks of it as well. Don't think there's any damage. I think it was just a right rear kiss on that inside wall. Onyx is off the circuit, just backing onto it. Looks like he's lost it down before the castle section. No, that's actually turn 4 he's lost it at as well. Blizzard's still in the pits. Cuba Libre is making his debut here tonight as well. So we might as well talk about the reserve drivers, because there has been a few changes. First of all, ILRT Cliffy, the Renault driver, has left the league. He put a message up midweek basically saying that he's lacking the motivation to continue, and he has lost his drive then, which means that Aaron Collingwood, after a very stellar performance at China last week, he now takes up the full-time seat for Renault. Other drivers in tonight then, Cuba Libre making his debut replacing Speed Barry in the Mercedes, and Sparks is back in replacing Kornhoff in the Red Bull. So we're just looking at Likitu here coming round to complete his first lap. Gonanen back out on circuit after hitting the wall. VSR Wayne as well, he's on a flying flying lap, just coming out of the very fast left-right, turns 18 and 19, 20, just going through there as well as he comes down to the straight. No DRS here, of course, in these wet conditions. We'll bring up the lap data at least, or the telemetry, just to see what these drivers are doing. Top end speed, 205 it is for VSR Wayne as he moves up into 4th place in a 49.8. Likitu just behind him up into 5th on a 50.3. Looks like everyone will be up there on the intermediate tyres pretty much all the way now to the end of this session. VSR Wayne's gone off the circuit just ahead there, and he's going to try a spin turn in a very difficult position. It might be easy to just reverse back onto the circuit. This is going to be the world's biggest 17-point turn to try and get that car turned around. He's managed to do it, finds himself a bit of track space, returns to the circuit. Anyone else out there making mistakes? ILR just negotiating the castle section. Looks like the rain has stopped actually, so he may get some dry running towards the end of this session, which is going to mean that the lap times will continually tumble. Pog and Lambo in the pits. It's me still out there as well, and only 10 drivers have set lap times, although Lickle's 2:28 can pretty much be discounted. We've got a few drivers with name changes then, different drivers out there signing up, I assume, with different leagues or different eSport teams as well. So JAESA Paris is now known as S2V Paris, and he's making his first start of the season after finally getting a new wheel and pedal set. Hopefully it's all calibrated nicely for him and he can push on now. Francis McGinn has had a name change and is now LR Francis, and Par 18 is now known as LR Pog. So a few name changes there to try and keep an eye on. This is Paris then. It's his first start this season. Good evening to everyone that is tuning in now. Big C saying, oh no, what a mess indeed it is. And Tyler Bleasy, just another comment there. What does the ILRT mean? Is it something to do with this league? Yeah, most of the leagues have their own esports teams, and Inside Line Racing have their own. ILRT basically stands for Inside Line Racing Team. These are drivers that not necessarily run in ILR, although some of them do. They can run elsewhere as well. They're basically representing the league as an esports league. There's plenty of other leagues out there as well. VSR is another one. LR, I assume, is one as well. There's a few drivers. So there's plenty out there. ILR also have their own ILRT. Hopefully that clears it all up for you. So then, Paris then just coming around to start his flying lap. His teammate Aaron Collingwood also out there on a flying lap himself. No lap times yet from either of the Williams drivers, and VSR Blizzard, last season's champion by a long way, only sitting on the 4 points at the moment with an 8th place at Bahrain. And this is the track really, especially with the challenging conditions in both qualifying and the race, where if you do keep it clean and consistent, you can pick up a strong performance. And some of these drivers have yet to score points this season. Sterling West is sitting on 0, same as LR Gonanen as well. Blizzard only on 4. VSR Lambo, a very quick driver, sitting on just a 1 point. So this could be the race where they sort of get themselves a good position in the race, get some good points and use it as a benchmark to proceed with the rest of the season. Aaron not happy with his lap, coming back into the pits. So we'll have a look at Paris. Is he still carrying on? He's still carrying on at the moment. Francis as well, just negotiating turn 15 on the run down to the hill. 16, as I said, a very crucial corner. You want to get the exit here as nailed on as you can, because from this point onwards, certainly in the dry, you are flat out all the way to the end. It's going to be challenging for these drivers in these tricky conditions. Of course, traction control is disabled in ILR1. And there's a little sideways there, coming through 17 or 18 and 19, I should say, through 20 now. And now coming up to the main straight. A 48.7 is not going to be. It's going to be well, it's going to be a slow lap by his standards. 54.578, only good enough for 11th place. We'll come back to Paris, see how he's getting on as he's now just got out of the castle section. Oh, car very twitchy there, going through the double left-hander. And now down to turn 15. You want to be very calm as you like through here. It's probably a bit too slow. I think Paris may have backed off here. He's still going for it a little bit, so we'll see what he's like coming through 16 in the rest of the lap. Running wide through 16 with the understeer in these conditions as well. May very well be running a dry setup, and you can see at the bottom there, it just flashed up, race control saying DRS has now been enabled. So we may very well have some dry running before the end of this session. You can see there now, bringing up the fitted. Some of the drivers in the pits are onto either the medium or the soft tyres. It's me already out the circuit on the soft tyres. And I think track conditions are not going to be perfect until the very end of the session, but they're certainly going to get quicker and quicker from this point onwards. Certainly now as DRS has been enabled, so you can pretty much discount all of the lap time so far. It means Jack, everyone is going to be out there again unless they've retired or crashed in the session, which I don't think anyone has, and they'll all be out there improving these lap times. Some drivers drivers might be out there now on a set of tyres, put 3 or 4 laps worth of fuel and just keep pounding round. There is time, even with a long circuit like this, to do a lap now, come back in and go out at the end of a session, but you've got to be quick. It takes the best part of 2 minutes once you leave a pit to start your flying lap. You can see there, you know, just almost getting in the way there of one of the Toro Rossos. You've got yellow flags as well down at turn 16. So I think Yanul will be the first driver, or is it It's Me? It's Me then is the first driver then on these dry tyres. So he's already got through turn 1 and turn 2. Now down into turn 3, over to the left hand side for turn number 4, the right hand. You've got to be very careful of the inside curve. You see how much it raises up. It will unsettle the car. Move the car again over to the right hand side, turn 5 and 6, one on top of the other. It's a long left hand, well it's not a long left hand, but it's certainly longer than 6, which is quite just a quick flick of the wrist. Bit of lag there showing on the Force India, or the Racing Point I should say. Now then down to turn 7. Be very careful to not cut that corner. You will pick up an ETL. And now 8, 9, 10 and 11. The very tricky, infamous castle section. Can you keep it nice through here? It's not bad, to be honest. 8 and 9, 10 and now 11. And now onto a curving back straight here with a double left-handers. Pretty much flat out it should be now. No reason to lift. Track conditions continually improving. Now into the tricky turn 15. You want to be careful there to not hit the wall on the outside. Puff of smoke from the left front as the car becomes a bit unbalanced. Now short burst down to 16. Clip the exit curb as much as you can there to try and settle the car. And now 17, 18, 19 and 20 will be flat out from this point onwards. Hopefully he doesn't clip the wall on the exit or the car comes unsettled. It's fine. And just coming through 20 now. DRS line just coming up. You can see on the right hand side. There's the line, finger on the button, increasing the top speed, 208, 209, 210, 211. This should be provisional pole. It is a 44.884, and It's Me at the moment has his moment in the sun sitting in P1, but that will change. As you can see, pretty much everyone now going to be on either the soft or the medium tyres. Only a few drivers out there on circuit at the moment, so it looks like that most of these guys are going for basically a one-shot qualifying effort here at the very end of a session, just waiting for the air and track temperature to come up a few more degrees to try and generate a bit more grip and speed in these tyres. Louis then now negotiating the castle section as he is on his quick lap now on the soft tyres. ILRT Yanul now takes provisional pole, 44.593. It's going to be tricky to try and commentate on all 20 of these, or 19 of these guys. Tuesday, of course, will not be taking part in this session. Who it is going to end up with provisional pole is anyone's guess. You make one mistake on your flying lap and it is all over. So the pressure is really on all of these 19 drivers to nail that perfect qualifying lap. Here comes Louis then already into sector 3. Quick flick left and then right through 18 and 19. Jump on board of the Mercedes driver. 211 we saw from It's Me in the Racing Point. What are we going to see from Louis? And he's coming back into the pits actually. Oh, and he's just clipped the wall there. Almost dunched into the wall, and that would have been his session over. So he wasn't happy with that lap time. He's back in the pits. And he will therefore have enough time, I feel, to get another set of soft tyres. It's Me will probably be coming in, unless he's deciding to go for a second run here. Is he going for it? Nope, he's back in the pits as well. He might just have enough time to get out again. ILRT Yanul, I don't think he's going to go again. I don't think so. He's certainly not got any ERS, although he is pushing the ERS hard. He's in ERS mode number 5. So very well could have been the first lap. He just had the ERS down a little bit. And now he's using this second run to push as hard as he can. So if he comes back in the pits now, he won't have enough time to go out again. So if his delta time is up, and you can see there he's almost out of ERS. Is he going to come into the pits, or is he going to carry on? Looks like he is carrying on then. So it's a double run on the soft tyres, and he does improve. It's a 42.695, but his session is now over. As you can see there, a lot of drivers excuse me, now on the outlaps. Some are on mediums, some are on softs, which is going to be very crucial for strategy as well. Certainly with the rain that's predicted towards the end of this race, there might be some drivers looking to do the medium tyres all the way to the end of the race until the rain does fall. So Rafa in 4th place, VSR Wayne in 6th, both out on circuit on the medium tyres. Lambo in 10th, Francis in 11th, also out there on the medium tyres. So he could have a bit of an upside down grid. ILRT, you know, I think his lap time will be beaten, to be honest with you. The track conditions are continuing to improve. LR Francis, I think, is already on a flying lap. He is indeed. Already coming out of turn 1, now down to turn 2. Very tricky corner this. Jumps up on you, and same for turn 3 as well. It's me. His session is over. He knows he's not going to get out in time. So the 2 guys then that went out early in this session once the dry running started, currently sitting first and second. They know they can't improve or they haven't got enough time, so they have retired from the session. They are now spectators, and they'll be hoping and praying they don't completely tumble down the order, but I feel they will, no matter what tyres everyone is on. Francis at the moment, he's 6.2 seconds up on his previous best. So if he keeps that going, he'll probably take provisional pole here as it stands. Paris as well, he's on a flying lap, I think. So it looks like then that he's already close to finishing his final run. But he might just go again towards the end once he crosses the line, even though he will not have enough ERS. You can see he's in ERS mode number 4 rather than number 5. Coming up to the line then, there should be provisional pole quite comfortably for Paris. It is indeed. The first driver into the 38s, 38.759. We'll come back to Francis. I think he's the next one across. Or where's Pog in all this? Gonanen, they're quite a way back. So Francis with the next person across the line. Paris then with the first real time to beat, 38.759. And with just a few seconds left of the session, Francis will be the first car across the line, and then his session will be over. Is he going to get it? Is he going to get pole? I don't think he's going to. He's not. This is not a good lap. And Francis only a 40.1, but he is on those medium tyres. So let's scroll through now. That's it. The session is now over. Likitu cannot improve from 9th place. And some drivers getting a nice tow from everyone else. Gonanen is coming up the castle section. Pog is coming down to turn 15. Everyone else is a long way back. Onyx and Blizzard are at different points of the circuit as well. You can see there's a right train here through Sector 2. These lap times are going to continually tumble as the cars make their way around the circuit. I have absolutely no idea who it's going to be on provisional pole. Possibly last car across the line will take it. Very much Hulkenberg Brazil 2010 scenario here. The track conditions are continuing to improve. So Pog coming up to the line now. This will not be provisional pole. Oh, indeed it was actually, by 0.4 of a second. How wrong I was. So the Racing Point currently on provisional pole. But I feel that will go down. Paris has backed out, so we can discount him. We've got Rafa then. Where's Louis in all this? He is still in Sector 2. Rafa coming up to the line now then. He's best part of 10 seconds up on his previous best. But can he now move himself up to provisional pole, which Gonanen has now taken? Rafa cannot do it. Even on those medium tyres, he cannot do it. Second best is the best for him. Where's Louis and all this? Liam Yeo has now taken provisional pole. Here comes Louis. He's coming up to the line now. We've got a Ferrari of Sterling West ahead of him. Boy, does that Ferrari need a good performance tonight. Look at the train of cars ahead. It's going to continually change. Is anyone going to move up? Sparks and Onyx. Aaron Collingwood has moved up. Liam Yeo is still on provisional pole. Louis can only do second. And now we're waiting for Cooper Livre, who's only 15th, and now Blizzard is the final driver across the line. Can he shock of all shocks? No, he's back into the pits. He wasn't comfortable on those tyres of that lap time, and it's Liam Yeo that has taken pole position here ahead of Louis. Very much a bit of an upside down grid here at the end of qualifying. So then, ILRT drivers on the front row. Liam Yeo with pole position. Louis in second on those medium tyres. Then it's Gonanen and Lickle, both the Haas drivers, third and fourth. Rafa and Sterling West. Good performance from Sterling West, 6th place. Pog in 7th. Sparks, the reserve driver, in 8th. VSR Onyx and Aaron Collingwood in his first full-time drive in 10th place. But there's a mix of soft and medium runners inside the top 10. Outside of it is VSR Wayne in 11th. Paris making his first start of the season in 12th on the soft tyres. Then it's VSR Lambo, Francis, Cooper Livre making his first start, and a few other drivers who have unfortunately missed out. But do stay tuned. I'm going to take a very short break here, and I'll be with you guys during the formation lap. So the drivers now on their formation lap, being led by the Red Bull of Liam Yeo. And one thing I forgot to mention in the pre-race notes, such as the chaos it was in qualifying, was the drivers and constructors standing. So I'll quickly touch on them as we've got enough time on this formation lap. Truesdale starting at the back with a qualifying ban, leads the championship on 58 points. VSR Wayne second place on 37. ILRT Louis and ILRT Rafa tied for third on 36. And our pole man Liam Yeo in 5th place on 31. In the constructors, Alfa Romeo lead with 73, Toro Rosso second 59, Mercedes in third on 50, Williams 4th 33, Red Bull 5th on 31. Predictions that I put up then. Race driver says Louis for the win with track position and tyre advantage. Good shout that as well. And DSY Delta saying I can picture something happening at Castle. I think we all can. So we'll bring up the tyres then. So the top 10, starting on the tyres, they did set their best lap on. Of course, it was dry towards the end of the session, so these are a used set that they used. You can see there Liam Yeo in first, Gonanen and Lickle third and fourth, Sterling West in sixth and Pog in seventh, all on the softs. The medium runners inside the top 10, Louis in second, Rafa in fifth, Sparks, VSR Onyx and Aaron Collingwood 8th, 9th and 10th. And then there's a lot of hard tyre runners outside of the top 10, only two guys going for the mediums, VSR Lambo in 13th, VSR Blizzard all the way down in 19th. Truesdale, one of the quickest drivers so far this season, starting in 20th. Last season's champion Blizzard in 19th place. ILRT Yanul, a quick driver, down in 16th. And at the front of the field, it's Liam Yeo, who's already been on the podium once this season. He'll be hoping to do the same here as well. The two Haas drivers, Gonan and Lickle, in third and fourth, will be hoping for a positive result tonight as well. And Sterling West in sixth place, yet to score a point. He's put himself in a very good position with that good lap at the end of qualifying. Just waiting for all the drivers to take up their positions. The AI have now taken control of all of them. 26 laps we're going to have here at Baku. Hold on to your seats. It's difficult really to predict what the top three can be. They just need to keep it clean as best as they can. Looks like all the drivers are now taking positions up on the grid. And this race is going to start in the dry, but we have been told that there is to be expected a rain shower towards the end. And here we go then. It's Liam Yeo on the left, Louis on the right. I prefer a better camera angle, to be honest with you. And now the 5 lights come on for round 4 here in Baku. And the lights are out and away they go now. Hopefully the camera angle changes so we can see off the front two who's got the better jump. It looks like Louis is going to stick the nose in, but Liam Yeo does hold on to it. Both the Haas drivers are changing position as well. Looks like everyone in the background has kept it nice and clean. We've got Pog challenging Sterling West, and there's many position changes. Oh, and is that Louis there just clipping the wall? It was on the exit of 2, and he's being absolutely hounded by everyone around him as well. Rafa up into second position, Lickle up into third as well, as the rest of the field all filter down into turn 3. Is anyone going to be pushed wide into the outside wall? Looks like they're all keeping it relatively clean. You can see the positions constantly changing up and down this order. It's going to be probably the best part of another 5 or 6 corners until everyone can get into position. But Liam Yeo leads already a full second and a half clear of Rafa. Lickle into third, Louis into fourth. Sterling West is up into 5th position as well. Gonan has lost a couple of positions, and Pog is coming under attack from Sparks here in a corner. You don't see a lot of overtakes now into the castle section for the first time. Are all 20 drivers going to make it safely through here? It looks like they have so far. All the way down to Yanul in 16th place, Lakitu back in 17th, Blizzard and It's Me fighting aggressively over 18th. Oh, and that's the Force Racing point in the background there. I don't know if he's been tagged or he's lost it by itself, and It's Me has been spun into the wall in the exit of 12 and immediately retires from the session, our first casualty, and we haven't even completed 1 lap. But Liam Yeo is absolutely racing away, 2 seconds clear of Rafa already, who's pulled a good gap on Lickle, and here comes Louis then in 4th place. This will be the first opportunity then to see these guys, and Yanul has had an instance somewhere as well. He's spun the car around and he's called it a day early on, but here comes Louis up the inside of Lickle as a complete lap 1 of 26. Liam Yeo with the fastest lap already, of course, being the net leader, and Louis takes the inside into turn 1, disposing of that Haas driver down into 4th. Meanwhile, Gonanen and Pog are dicing it out over 6th and 7th. Racing Point up the inside into turn 2, but the Haas driver can hang it around the outside, and he does. Immediately leaves the session in disgust, and Sparks is going to try and get into this, and we have a safety car. We have a safety car here due, I assume, to so much debris being out on circuit. Certainly 2 cars crashing on lap 1, and everyone can catch their breath, including the drivers and myself. And all of these drivers can now just follow the leader. Anyone back there with any sort of accident damage, I don't know. There's probably a few people with a couple of end plates missing, but everyone can now sort of settle down. It'll be disappointing for Liam Yeo. He was well over 2.5 seconds clear at the end of lap 1, so his lead has now been completely eradicated, and all of these guys will catch up and form up behind the safety car for a couple of laps here. We might see a few pitters to fix some damage. Certainly those towards the back of the field, or maybe 13th, 14th downwards, if they've got front wing damage, they'll probably use this opportunity to pit. Maybe some of the soft runners might pit as well, but I do think it's a bit too early. But of course they would have looked at their race director screen, or the weather screen I should say, before this race, and if there is rain and it's due, middle part of the race onwards, they might duck in for a set of mediums and hards to try and get themselves to that rain shower. We'll have to see if anyone does pit at the end of this lap. Liam Yeo's still pushing. He still wants to be leading this race by a comfortable margin. So yeah, it's me and Yanal throwing the towel in early. I never like to see it. I know it's disappointing, crashing at the end of lap 1. But you kind of want to see people carry on, especially such a long race like this. Anything can happen. So it doesn't look like then that. Oh no, Louis is in. So Louis is in off of those medium tyres. I can only assume he had a bit of wing damage. There's a whole host of drivers in, and indeed all of the soft runners are now in effect. So basically half the field is now coming in. I wouldn't be surprised if everyone is going onto the hard tyres here. Louis is having a front wing change, so he is going to drop well down the order. Oh, coming out there, glitching there through the Williams, and looks like all of his cars are now just coming out as soon as they can. Everyone going on to the hard tyres. Blizzard has had to be stacking up behind his teammate. Same for Truesdale as well. He's had to stack up behind Francis. No damage though, really. Obviously he'll be joining at the back, but there is a safety car, so it doesn't matter too much. So Blizzard will be at the back then. So Rafa now takes the lead of this race on those medium tyres. Sparks up into second place also on the medium tyres. Paris, Wayne, Cuba Libre and Lakitu, 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th, all decided to stay out on those hard tyres. And then Liam Yeoven has kept ahead of everyone else that did pit. We've got Francis, he's gone for the soft tyres, unless that is a visual glitch. No, he is on the soft tyres, and Gonanan has gone onto the mediums as well. So it's going to be interesting now with strategy. Rafa and Spark should have the early advantage here, pulling away on those mediums. And it'll be interesting to see the guys that have pitted onto the hard tyres. See if they can get up the order, get past a few guys ahead of them. Of course, we've got that predicted rain shower at some point towards the end of this race. I assume the safety car will probably be in possibly at the end of lap 4. Big C saying cold hard tyres on safety car restart should be fun. Yeah, it should be. Don't be surprised if there's a few spinny boys out there. Jay saying Sparks is good pace most tracks, to be fair. He's doing a good job here at the moment, running in second place. Didn't though, because a lot of people ahead of him did pit. It'll be interesting to see what that Red Bull driver can do now. Blizzard still yet to catch up with the rest of the field, but he should be able to do so fairly soon. As Rafa getting as close as he can to that safety car. So it's a nice quiet period of the race now where we can all collect our thoughts and wonder about what's going to happen in the remainder of this race. We've seen so much already. Louis nerfed into the wall, I think, on the exit of 2. Lost a few positions. He's had a front wing change, which is why he's dropped down the order a little bit. Truesdale and Blizzard had to double stack, which is why they're 17th and 18th. And it's me there spinning on the exit of turn 12 and calling it a day, and Yanal spinning I think on the exit of turn 16 and also calling it a day. Francis and Gonanan I think have realised their mistake not pitting for the hard tyres, and they're now in the pits to do exactly that. Gonanan certainly onto the hards, as is Francis as well. So Rafa and Sparks obviously won't pit now, neither will the guys 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th. They'll tumble all the way down the order. They don't want to give up track position. Some guys going for the long game strategy wise, others holding on to their track position and hoping to put out some sort of a gap. And of course, the ever threat of a rain shower, predicted rain shower towards the end, should make things quite interesting to see how far these tyres can go. A few drivers coming up there in the chat, or a few guys in the chat saying that Louis isn't that good at carving his way through the field. Well, he's down in 12th place. He's got to carve his way through the field if he wants to get onto the podium. So safety car at the moment then, still circulating around. I'm sure at some point in the near future we will see those lights go out and we'll be told that we will go green flag racing again. So Rafa and Sparks ideally should pull away first couple of laps and leave these hard runners behind to battle amongst themselves. Blizzard down in 16th, Truesdale in 15th, Onyx in 14th, Louis in 12th, Lambo in 13th, 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th. Some very, very quick guys there towards the back of the field. Jump on board with Rafa just to see if the lights in this safety car will go out. I think once it crosses the sector line to go into sector 3 is when the lights go out. I could be wrong. And I believe this is the first safety car that we've had in ILR1. There might be safety cars and virtual safety cars in the other tiers. But in ILR1 this is certainly the first time we've seen that Mercedes out, and you can see there then, crossing the line to go into sector 3, the lights do go out. The cars will now be sort of computer controlled to run to a pace. And it'll be up to Rafa at some point to drop the hammer and pull away. But he's got to be careful because if Sparks and the others are close behind, they will pick up a nice tow going down into turn 1. And don't be surprised then with cold tyres, cold brakes as well. Some people might snatch a brake going into 1, 2 and maybe even 3 as well at the end of the second straight. And here we go then, Rafa has put the hammer down. And where is Sparks and all this? Is he close behind? He is actually, he is close behind. They're a lot closer further back as well. Can Sparks try something going into turn 1? We go green flag racing again, lap 5 of 26. Decides to not do anything about it. Paris holding on into 3rd place. The rest of the field all filtering through. A few guys very close further back there as well. Aaron Collingwood very close at the back of Pog. So is ILRT Louis. He's going to try and hang this round the outside. Collingwood does give him the space. Looks like we've got a few other drivers as well just ducking and weaving up ahead. Liam Yo, our pole man, in 7th. Now chasing Likitu for that P6. Puff of smoke there from the Ferrari driver. Further back, what's going on back here? Nothing much is changing. I don't think there's been any position changes, to be honest with you. Although it's looking very dicey here in the midfield. But Rafa's held on to the lead. Sparks has held on to P2. Now what are all these guys going to do? Are they going to be able to just filter through? Follow each other quite nicely through the castle section. Don't be surprised if someone bins it in here straight away. We haven't seen it just yet. A few incidents in qualifying, but nothing in the race so far. On board with Louis. Everyone looks like they're taking it nice and calm through there. Blizzard still in 16th. Francis Gonanen at the rear of the field, having to make another pit stop under the safety car. And Rafa and Sparks are starting to pull away a little bit then, leaving the hard runners behind. That's all being led by Paris. Paris, Wayne, Cooper, Libre and Likitu stayed out when the safety car made its appearance a few laps ago. Everyone else behind, as you can see, only a couple of laps on those hard tyres. So Sparks is 5 attempts back. And the rest of the field all spread out here in the top of it anyway, but it's quite close further back. We'll come back to Louis because he seems to be very close to the back of that Renault, being pedalled as hard as it can by Aaron Collingwood. And Rafa sets a new fastest lap. And look at that, even without the DRS yet, Louis cannot get alongside that Renault. He's going to have to brake late into turn 1. Aaron doesn't give him the space and keeps hold of that 11th place for now. And Louis is being frustrated here early on. Further up here, Liam Yo, Cooper Libre, both very close to the back of Likitu. Is the Mercedes driver making his first lap, going to try something? Likitu defends the inside into 3. And keeps hold of that P5 for now. The rest of the field you can see is just filtering through. No one, I don't think, has made contact with the wall. Certainly I don't think there's even been any position changes since the green flag has dropped again. Rafa still leads. 8 tenths ahead of Sparks, just a second ahead of Paris. Puff of smoke again from Cooper Libre, so he's certainly pedalling that Mercedes for all its might. Through the castle section yet again. These guys just following each other through. This is a race that's going to develop, I feel. Certainly if that rain does fall. Oh, Aaron getting a little out of shape there. Great helicopter shot here around the old city. as Louis gives chase to that Renault driver, who in turn is sticking with the racing point. Now into the very tricky turn 15. Cars crash and bump all the way over those off-camber curbs. Now down into 16. Good exit is required here, of course. And Louis, look at that. Louis is so close to the back of that Renault. He's got to be careful he doesn't make contact with this part of the circuit, because he'll probably put both cars into the wall. And Louis then, look at that, he's right underneath that rear wing. He's almost pushing him down the straight, but his top end speed is nothing compared to Aaron. He cannot get alongside, and Aaron continues to pull away. Meanwhile, Paris is in the pits, going onto the soft tyres. So he only completed 6 laps on those hard tyres. Meanwhile, Liam Yeo has managed to get past Cooper Libre, and Louis finally makes the move past Aaron into 10th place at turn 2. Can Aaron come back though? DRS is now being re-enabled. 2 DRS zones here, main straight and this straight here between turn 2 and 3. And that's where you'll see most of the overtakes tonight in this race. Rafa and Sparks pulling away, 2.5 seconds ahead of Wayne now, who in turn is almost 2.5 seconds ahead of Lakitu. And Liam Yeo will now hopefully close that gap up to the Ferrari driver. Now he's managed to get past the Mercedes of Cooper Libre. We'll further back all of his guys outside of the points, very close together. We've got that's Onyx there, applying pressure to Lambo in the McLaren. Into the Castle section again for the 7th of 26 times. All of them keeping it nice and clean so far. Francis and Gonanen still at the back. Paris then out on the medium tyres. And Rafa and Sparks then continue to pull away. Onyx has managed to get past Lambo somewhere. And now Sparks is in the DRS range, and Louis has managed to get past Pog as well. So Louis, that's two cars in the space of about a lap. And let's jump on board with Sparks, see if he is close enough. He's really not close enough to try anything on Rafa. Even with the DRS, he's gaining all the time down into turn 1. Such is the length of this main straight, but it's not close enough to try anything further back. Lickle and Sterling West going into battle, watched closely by Louis, and that's Cooper Libre up ahead as well. So all of his guys now starting to gang up on the reserve driver. All the pressure is on his shoulders. He wants to put in a good performance for his first start in ILR1. He's doing okay at the moment in 6th place. Meanwhile, Onyx, Truesdale and Lambo are dicing over 12th, 13th and 14th. Truesdale slowly starting to pick his way through the field. Qualifying ban, of course. Started in 20th. Is it a late move from the Toro Rosso? It's not. Onyx very late on the brakes, locking up the front left. And these guys now filter back into line. Meanwhile, up ahead as well, they've all seemed to calm down. And all of his guys in. It's a bit of a train. It's a Cooper Libre train at the moment. 6th all the way down to about 11th. I mean, there's another train there from Onyx down to 17th for Gonanen. So Liam Yeo is gaining on Lakitu. And that Red Bull driver looking very quick. Sparks as well, to be honest. Both the Red Bulls running very well here in 2nd and 5th. And Liam Yeo will be hoping to convert that pole position into a race win. He's the net leader at this stage. The top 4 have yet to make a pit stop. So he is our net leader, and he's doing everything right at the moment by pulling away from everyone else behind. Cooper Libre certainly a bit of a roadblock at the moment, as Louis up the inside of Lickle into turn 16. That's a good move, sets himself up for a potential overtake on Sterling West, potentially a double overtake as well, because Cooper Libre is going to be very vulnerable here coming down the main straight. You can see Sterling West is already gaining even before they've got to the DRS line, which is now. Cooper Libre defends the inside for all his might, but Sterling West should be through safely into the braking zone. And Cooper Libre does hold on to that. Oh, meanwhile in the background there, that was a very late... Oh, and Cooper Libre's clipped the wall. Cooper Libre has clipped the wall, and this is going to gaggle these cars all up into turn 2. And Louis says thank you very much. Through he goes, and they're 3 wide further back here as well. Look at this. Cooper Libre has really become unsettled in turn 1 and 2, and he's going to be losing, I feel, a whole host of positions here. We'll jump aboard with Aaron. It'll be the best for you to see. Oh, and Cooper Libre's absolutely outbraked himself, and look at that, what a horror show this lap has been from him. Outbraked himself into 1, got bullied out the way in 2, and then completely drove off the road going into 3. He's dropped himself all the way down into 17th place. Meanwhile, I think there was a bit of debris back there on the exit of 4 or 5, I think it was. So someone's clipped the wall somewhere, not too sure who it is. Liam Yeo certainly fine in 5th place. And look at this, Sterling West up into 6th place, but he's 4 seconds, over 4 seconds back. And Lambo has retired from the race. What's happened there? We'll jump on board. Oh, there he is. He's run wide. It looks like going into turn 7. And he's clipped the outside wall. And again, just like last week in China, both McLarens out of this race. It really has been a horror show of a season for them. Francis and Gonanen are changing positions over 14th and 15th. We've got a yellow flag in sector 2, obviously, with Lambo's crashed car. Hopefully that will be removed by the time the leaders do come round. Rafa and Sparks going again then. Sparks gaining all the time down the main straight. Further back, what's going on with Liam Yeo. We've got Louis going past Sterling West as well. So the fight back is certainly on for the Mercedes driver. He's now in a net 2nd place, getting past that Ferrari driver. Further back, we've got Aaron Collingwood close up behind Lickle, but not close enough to try a move into 1. Onyx and Truesdale calmly. Oh, Truesdale running a bit wide there through 1, getting very close to the outside wall. All the drivers hard on the brakes into turn 2 as well. And again, they all filter down with the DRS again. This long straight down into turn 3. It'd be interesting to see when the medium runners pit, how far they can push these tyres. Gonanen back in the pits again. I can only assume that's for accident damage, so I think that's his 3rd pit stop of this race. So bring up the movers and the shakers so far as this race has gone on, if I can somehow. It's this one here, isn't it? Yeah, so you can see that Rafa's up 4 positions. Lakitu, the biggest mover, up 13 positions. Wayne and Truesdale both up 8. Biggest losers, you can see Gonanen there, all the way from 3rd or 4th down into 17th. Someone's just clipped the wall there, coming through the castle section. We saw a bit of debris fly off to the side. I think it might have been Lickle, possibly. Can't tell with this camera angle, and I can't tell because he's so close behind Pog's racing point as well. In fact, it was Pog. You can see there the front right is a bit damaged on that racing point. As they come down into turn 16, you can see there he's missing an end plate. Quite clearly he's missing an end plate. Oh, very wide there through 16. So he's going to be a bit understeery through here then. 17 and 18, or 18 and 19 I should say. He's managed to keep it nice and straight through there and keep the speed up as well. And Lickle would have seen Pog clip the wall. Would have seen the front wing come off. And there must be a golden opportunity for the Haas driver to make his move through up into 8th place. He's got the position. Pog filters back in. Aaron and VSR Onyx battling as well, and Onyx up the inside into 1, just pushing Aaron a little wide, and Truesdale might take advantage of that into 2. He does as well. Hopefully he doesn't outbrake himself and cream into the back of the Williams. He doesn't. So Aaron down now into 12th position. So stops then, you can see that Donovan has made 3, Francis has made 2, most of the field have made 1. Oh, and Truesdale there getting very racy against Onyx. He wants to try and find a way through, and Aaron isn't giving us up either as well. Into turn 4, avoids contact, good driving by the pair of them as well. But Truesdale is carrying on his charge, just like a few other drivers are as well. But Rafa and Sparks still lead here, 3.5 seconds ahead of VSR Wayne. Liam Yeo, Lakitu in 4th and 5th, and Louis now up into P6. And this season is going from bad to worse for our defending champion. He's lost it in the castle section, completely destroyed that front wing. He will be in at the end of this lap and will drop all the way down to 17th place. And VSR Blizzard is just hoping and praying for a positive result at some point in the season. He certainly isn't getting the luck of the green at the moment. So Rafa then still leads from Sparks, 3.6 ahead of Wayne, who finds himself with a bit of clear air. We've got a yellow flag in sector 3. That'll be Blizzard, who has retired from the race. So we've lost 4 drivers in. We're almost at half distance. In danger of finishing with 10 or less drivers at this rate. And Blizzard season just going from bad to worse. Liam Yeo in 4th, Lakitu in 5th, Louis in 6th, Sterling West in 7th. The top 6 have all got good gaps. Sterling West is holding on bravely to a point as Aaron and Onyx are fighting over 10th and 11th, and Truesdale is involved with all this as well. So Aaron's not giving this up against these guys. He's got a full-time drive. Oh, and Truesdale there might have just touched the wall a little bit. Don't know if he's got any damage on that car. Appears okay. Yep, looks okay. So Truesdale is not getting everything his own way at the moment. Down in 12th position. He doesn't have to worry about anyone behind him. His teammate is best part of 4 seconds back. Jump aboard of the Toro Rosso driver through the castle section. All three keep it clean this lap. We've got Francis, Paris, Gonanen, Kuba Libre all at the back of the field. Rafa still leads in. Sparks is just sticking with him, picking up the DRS, which is handily towing him along. You can see more debris there on the right hand side of the circuit. So again, another driver has clipped the wall. It could very well have been Blizzard. Well, they announced his front wing, didn't he? So it wouldn't have been him. I think Rafa's just made a pit stop. He has actually, yep, just saw it flash off to the left. So Rafa now coming into the pits. This will be interesting about the rain shower. If he doesn't think it's going to happen, or he's just playing safe, he'll probably go for the hard tyres. And he is going for the hard tyres then. So this should drop Rafa down the order a little bit. Meanwhile, back here we've got Pog and Sterling West going into battle. Oh, and the Racing Point just giving the squeeze to Sterling West there, who's still got the inside into turn 2. Is there going to be any contact? No. Space is given. Respect is shown. And Pog stays in that 7th place for now. Rafa back out then on a fresh set of hard tyres. All the way down in 9th place. Second half behind Sterling West. Second and a half ahead of Onyx, who's in battle with Aaron Collingwood coming into turn 3. Again, respect is shown between the two of them. Onyx doesn't have the inside for turn 4. Meanwhile, further back as well, Paris and Francis going into battle. More debris there on the exit of turn 3. So these cars are still tripping over either themselves or each other. Now at half distance, so much has already happened, and so much I think is yet to come. We've got some drivers high up that we don't usually see. We've got some drivers low down that we don't usually see. And we've lost 4 drivers so far. It's me and Newell were lap 1 casualties. Lambo retired after a few laps as well. And we've recently lost Blizzard after crashing in the castle section. So Aaron back up into 10th place. Doing a good job here defending from the much quicker Onyx and Truesdale. All on the same tyres. All pitted for these tyres underneath the safety car, as a majority of the field did. We've still got Rafa then, now at 9th place. He's already closed that gap back up to Sterling West. Much fresher set of hard tyres at this point. Should be able to complete the move going into turn 1, although Sterling will have DRS from Pog ahead. Sparks in the pits 1 lap later than Rafa. I think Rafa will keep ahead of Sparks anyway. Onyx and Aaron Collingwood are exchanging positions again, but we'll stay on board with Rafa trying it up the inside against Sterling West, who leaves the door open late on the brakes. Puff of smoke from the left, just runs wide a little bit. That might give Sterling West an opportunity to come back into turn 2. Nope, he filters back in line and gives up that P7. Meanwhile, further back, Sparks is rejoined in 9th place on the set of hard tyres. Oh, and Onyx are clouting the outside wall. There's significant damage on that front right, as you can see. He's taken the end plate off, and both Truesdale and Aaron would have seen that. Aaron just weaving about on the straight there, not too sure why. So Onyx then is going to have a bit more understeer in that car that he would have liked. And he's still yet to make another pit stop as well, as most of this field is. Rafa and Sparks can certainly go to the end. And Kuba Libre picks up a 3-second time penalty for exceeding track limits one too many times. It is possible to get track limit penalties around here, although it is rare that they get multiple ones. It's not a circuit like, for example, Canada or Russia or USA, where you do pick up a litany of penalties. There's plenty of runoff around here, and even if there isn't runoff, there's certainly walls that will stop you in your way. So Onyx has front wing damage, we know that as well. There's more debris there on the left hand side. There seems to be a bit of debris on the exit of every single corner. Sparks now out in 9th place after making his pit stop. And Womack just saying that rain at the end, by the way. Yep, it was told to me at the beginning of qualifying. I always ask in one of the chats, give us a weather update, because it's nice for me to know exactly what to expect, and to let you guys as well know what to expect. And here comes Sparks then. He's now going to slowly start moving up the field. Ahead of him, Rafa is getting past Pog, as Sparks is passing Sterling West, and Rafa and Sparks have already completed their moves well before the braking zone for turn 1. So Rafa back up to 6th position. ILR1 currently holding on to that lead. Onyx then does pit. Oh, and a late lock up there from Pog. He's going to be slow out of turn 2, and Sparks says thank you very much. That'll be an easy overtake, and Sterling West might have an opportunity as well. He's ghosting there just a little bit, but now comes back into full effect, defending the inside of 3. Sparks just locks up a little bit of lag on the Red Bull as well. Hopefully that calms itself down. Sapog very close to hitting the wall in the exit of 2. Just pushing a bit too hard and snatching a break. And he's now down in 8th position. Sterling West still in the points. Truesdale in 10th. Still got the attentions of Aaron Collingwood behind, and Paris is slowly closing up on those medium tyres. And we've got Francis Gonnan and Onyx has just made a pit stop to fix that front wing. I believe he's fixed it. He has. And he's now out on the medium tyres, which he should be able to, well, will comfortably get to the end of this race. Cooper Lee down in 16th and last at the moment. So Wayne still leads. Liam Yeo slowly closing up. In the background, Louis and Likitu very close together in 3rd and 4th. The rain shower at the end. The clouds are starting to come in. It's starting to look a bit hazy, a bit more overcast. Of course, even though we do have a rain shower, will it negate a switch onto the intermediate tyres or not? We'll have to wait and see. And at the moment, this is a waiting game to see when these guys that didn't pit do pit. As Louis manages to pass Likitu, and Rafa with the DRS manages to safely negotiate his way past Lickle, who's having a better race tonight compared to China, where he was an early retirement after an incident. And he's looking good for a handful of points, but he still needs, I think, to make another pit stop. These guys that pitted under the safety car are expected to do, what, 24 laps in a set of hards? Answers in the chat, please. I don't know if they'll be able to do that, to be honest with you. It's going to be a bit of a challenge. They might just be holding out for this predicted rain shower. We know there's rain at the end. We don't know when it's going to fall. We're only 10 laps away from the finish now. Rafa in 5th, 6.5 seconds behind Likitu. But he'll slowly start to claw that gap back as Lickle starts to fade away. And Sparks will be pushing now to try to catch up to that Harge driver. Pog, Sterling West and Aaron Collingwood complete the top 10 for now. It's sort of a guessing game at the moment. Some drivers are very quick out there, having recently made pit stops for various tyres. Other drivers are a bit slow out there, having not yet made a pit stop or pitted underneath the safety car. So this race will continue to develop and evolve as it goes on. So jump on board with the Red Bull driver then. Lap 16 of 26. That's how he manages to negotiate these final few corners, smooth as you like. Don't think he's in DRS range. Meanwhile, Liam Yeo is right up with and trying it against Wayne going into turn 1. He's up the inside again into 2. And Wayne cuts across him just a little bit. Don't think there was any contact between them. Meanwhile, Aaron has managed to get past Sterling West for 9th. Here comes Liam Yeo again then. Is he going to try and send it up the inside to turn 3? He does. And Wayne does give him a space. Oh, contact between them. And he's forced Wayne into the wall. And Liam Yeo has backed off. And a gift. A gift for Louis then. Liam Yeo outbraked himself going into turn 3. Creamed into the side of Wayne, which has forced him into the wall. And Wayne definitely has. You can see there's significant damage on that front wing. And that's an absolute gift for Louis, who now inherits the race lead. And look at Likitu, he's desperate to try and fight his way through. There is a lot of damage on that front right, and Liam Yeo just backs off the throttle to allow Wayne back through. But Louis saw a gap between the pair of them and managed to sneak through into the lead. So Liam Yeo there with a big lock-up, forcing Wayne into the wall. And that Alfa Romeo is going to be understeering terribly through here as well. He's not going to get the optimal line either. He's in the wall again. More damage there on that Alfa Romeo. And he's going to be pitting then definitely at the end of this lap, outbraking himself, going into 15. It's going to be a struggle for him to get through the left-right at the end of the lap as well. And he's got to be careful because his teammate is right behind him. If he's sensible, he'll allow Rafa through. He does. And is Wayne going to be able to slow this car down enough to actually get through the left right quick enough? Oh, he's so slow through with that damage, as you can see. And Lickle is going to be right up with him as well, over to the right hand side, past Wayne. Sparks will follow through as well, and Wayne is tumbling down the order. He'll be in at the end of his lap into the pits end. Meanwhile, Sparks is getting past Lickle quite nicely. Paris in the background as well has managed to pass Sterling West. So Wayne had an opportunity for a good result. He's now thrown that, well, he hasn't thrown it all the way, unfortunately. Liam Yeo just outbraked himself going into 3 and has forced old VSR Wayne into the wall. And he's now in for a front wing change and a set of soft tyres. So Louis now leads 3.7 seconds ahead of Liam Yeo. Likito in 3rd place. Rafa now up to 4th. Sparks up into 5th. And poor old VSR Wayne then, last year's race winner, now looking like he will struggle to score good points. Truesdale as well, our championship leader, he's still outside the points. Onyx, who also was on the podium last week, he's down in 13th. So the guys that finished 1st, 2nd and 3rd last week are currently 14th, 12th and 13th. How a week can change in ILR1. So Paris then, his first start this season. Doing well so far in 8th place on those medium tyres, which he won't be able to get to the end. I think some of these guys potentially hanging on now for this expected rain shower, as Likitu in 3rd picks up a 3-second time penalty. Truesdale and Aaron's ghosted here, so is he having issues? Oh, and Paris picks up a 5-second time penalty for exceeding track limits. That's a big corner cut. And Aaron's ghosted here, not too sure what's happened here. He's obviously going to be a lot slower now. His AI car has taken control. I don't think he's left the session. I didn't see anything pop up, unless I have missed it. So unfortunately, for whatever reason, Aaron has ghosted. And you can see there he's now going to be early fodder as the rain has started to fall there. You can see the rain is now starting to fall. 19 of 26 as Aaron continues to fall down the order. So now it will be a guessing game to see what happens. And Aaron has joined us in the chat saying he's lagged out. Okay, so unfortunately Aaron has basically disappeared. I don't know if he can get back in or not. Unfortunately for Aaron, a promising race in the points looks like it may have ended. And now we wait to see if this rain shower does force these drivers onto the intermediate tyres. This race certainly is not over yet, and Louis getting so close to that inside wall coming through the castle section. Liam Yeo now through there as well. Oh, and Likitu straight into the wall. And unfortunately, Rafa has creamed into him. He's put Sparks off as well. We've got other drivers coming through. A bit of a pile-up at the castle section. It was predicted in the chat that if someone loses it in the castle section, the car might not go quick enough. And that's exactly what's happened to poor ILRT Rafa. Likitu lost it in the castle section. And Rafa, being so close behind, had nowhere to go. Has creamed into the driver. And look at that. We've got Sparks with significant front wing damage as well. That has changed the complete complexion of this race. Sparks and Rafa had already made their final pit stop. Rafa leaves the session in disgust, and Sparks is going to have to pit again to fix that front wing. Pog is now up into 5th place. Paris up into 6th. Likitu has no front wing at all. He's got to be careful through here. He doesn't absolutely put it into the wall. He's slow, but he's managed to survive. And Sparks losing positions as well, as Pog manages to get past the Sparks then into the pits. New front wing for him, same for Likitu as well. And this top 10 ever changes, as I said, as long as you're clean and consistent. Oh, and Likitu's lost it coming into the pits, creamed into the wall, and immediately retires from the session because of it. And Likitu's race that was running so high up the order is now over in an instant. Sparks' race as well is completely shot. He's going to need a minor miracle here if he's going to get back up in the order. And it's Louis, Liam Yeo and Lickle, all ILRT drivers occupying the podium positions. Pog is up into 4th and Paris is up into 5th place. So Likitu lost it in the castle section, and poor old Rafa had absolutely nowhere to go. Absolutely creamed into the side of that Ferrari driver. Instant terminal damage DNF for Rafa, and that's 2 races in a row now. A strong start to the season for the Alfa Romeo driver, but he failed to score points at China, and he's failed to finish here in Azerbaijan. Lap 20 of 26. The rain is now falling. Will we need a change onto the intermediate tyres? And at the moment it looks like Louis is in pole position to take home an unlikely race win. So the track conditions are going to ever change and ever evolve now. The grip is slowly starting to go away from these guys with each sector, with each lap that goes by. Lap 21 of 26. If we're still getting DRS, as you can see here from Paris, as Pog defends the inside for 4th place, but Paris should sweep round the outside nicely. Pog gives it up already into the braking zone for turn 3. If we get to about the end of lap 24, and it says that basically DRS is now disabled, don't be surprised some of these drivers do decide to struggle around. But with it being such a long lap here, I think even with a lap or two to go, it would make sense to pit for the intermediate tyres rather than struggle around in the dries. You'll be so slow, you'll have no grip, there'll be a massive risk of putting it into the wall. So I think these drivers are constantly asking their race engineer when the change is going to be needed, if it's going to be needed. We've got yellow flags in sector 1. Who's that? That's gone off the circuit. None of these guys, I think. Could have been Cooper Libre who's going slowly. We know Aaron Collingwood basically is a retirement at this point as he's lagged out of the session. So there's only 13 drivers left of the 20 that started. We are still at risk here of having less than 10 to finish. But Louis still leads coming into lap 22. Francis in 6th place picks up a 5-second penalty. So there are a few penalties out there. At the moment you can see we have the top 4 quite nicely evenly spread, all 7-second gap to each other. Or Louis just running wide there through turn 1. That would have made his eyes wider just a little bit, realising that the grip is continuing to wash away from that car. Same for all of them as well. Liam Yeo in 2nd place. Good performance by the Red Bull driver so far after starting from pole position. Lickle in a podium spot as well. He'll be hoping to keep hold of that. Paris is slowly closing on this lap as he's in 4th position on those medium tyres, but they'll certainly be past their best at this point. Slight discoloration on the outer wall, and they'll be nursing those tyres hopefully to the end, unless he needs to change. Pog in 5th, Francis in 6th. VSR Wayne now on the soft tyres after pitting to fix accident damage a few laps ago, after being unceremoniously bumped into the wall. That corner there by Liam Yeo. Truesdale in 8th. Oh, and that's a Toro Rosso end plate there of Francis. He's hit the wall on the exit of 4 and immediately loses that 6th position to Wayne. So we're starting to see the mistakes start to creep in from these guys as track conditions change. So we're going to get very exciting here towards the end. Sterling West bravely holding on to what will be his first points finish of the season. Onyx just behind him. And we've got Sparks on a fresh set of soft tyres. He'll be frighteningly quick now, but all of these tyres will pretty much mean nothing if they all got to change again onto the intermediates. Gonanen bravely hanging on in 12th, and Kluber Libre a long way back in 13th. So Louis coming up then to complete lap 22 to start lap 23. 4 to go. No sign yet of DRS being disabled. It's usually the go-to sign. As soon as you see that pop up, and we've got yellow flag in sector 2. Sterling West is losing positions. He's lost it, I think, at turn 15 or maybe just before. I believe he's hit the wall as well. He has. The front white has got significant damage. So another driver making mistakes as Wayne passes Pog for 5th place. That Ferrari's just twitching there under acceleration. Is he going to be able to keep it clean here through the left-right? He has indeed, but he's off the pace a little bit. Gonanen is gaining hand over foot. And Francis pits in at the end of lap 23. Is he going to be brave and go on to the medium tyre, the intermediate tyres? Let's have a look as he trundles down pit lane. No, he's going on to the softs then. And he's having a penalty, I think. Or is it a front wing change, or what's going on here? But he's definitely going on to the soft tyres. Sterling West then has pitted, and he's thrown away a points position at the moment by going on to the intermediates and having a front wing change as well. So Sterling West is taking a gamble here. He's got absolutely nothing to lose and everything to gain. Meanwhile, we'll have a look at the fastest lap, because that's not going to change anymore. Currently being held by VSR Wayne of 1 minute 40.424. Certainly a lot quicker than everyone else out there. So if he stays in the points, it will be a fastest lap for him. An extra championship point for him. So Sterling West then out on the intermediate tyres. What's he going to be like coming down into turn 3? It's going to be a bit of an exploratory lap for him. I think he will have the grip. 8.5 seconds behind Cooper Libre, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. I think he was just running a bit wide there through turn 4, although he is gaining already. DRS still enabled. The K2 leaves the session after retiring a few laps ago. So Louis is not being brave. Liam Yeo is moving over to the left. Is he thinking about it? He is thinking about it. But he is going to stay out there. Lickle is moving over to the left. Is he going to think about a move? It's late. As you can see, these cars are moving about. They're making decisions at the very last second if they're deciding to do it or not. You've got yellow flag in sector 2. Onyx, I think, has hit the wall, and we have got drivers coming in then. So I think Onyx just ran wide and hit the wall then. So Wayne, Paris, Pog, Truesdale, they're all coming in then. So everyone fourth down. Sparks stays out there on those soft tyres. Onyx is coming in. So he's going to make the change. I think all of his drivers will be making the change onto the intermediates. Wayne certainly is. Pog, Paris, they're all in as well. And all of his drivers then, they're all coming in now. And DRS has been disabled. What an absolute call that is by all of these guys pitting now. And all of these guys in the top 4 are going to struggle now. Where's Louis and all this? He's just coming out to the castle section. Meanwhile, Wayne is already back out on the circuit, hammering it down into turn 3. So we'll bring up the gap to the leader to see how it's going on. Right, 44 seconds is at the moment. So Louis has got plenty of time in the hand. But I think that Lickle's podium position is at threat here. They need to creep round. And you can just see how slow Lickle is. Liam Yeo and Cliff and Louis as well, I should say. Sorry, not Cliffy, he's left, so it's Louis. So these guys now on the dry tyres are just struggling round. And this is a good opportunity then for VSR Wayne to potentially get back up onto the podium. Truesdale as well is looking at a high position, as is Paris. So Louis just coming through the left-right. He's kept it out the wall, so he'll be in the pit lane now. Liam Yeo, the next car through. You just see him feathering the throttle, just lifting off it, but he's successfully made it through. And Louis is carrying on. Louis is carrying on. We've got yellow flag in sector 1. So 2 laps to go then. Is Liam Yeo going to pit? He is. VSR Wayne, meanwhile, has taken 5, nearly 6 seconds out of Louis' lead, but as it stands at the moment, it won't be enough. But Liam Yeo is pitting then onto these intermediate tyres. Lickle also in from 3rd place. He'll definitely lose that podium spot, I feel. Sparks, is he going to carry on? He's got nothing to lose. He would have seen that Liam Yeo and Lickle have pitted ahead, so Sparks will move up into 2nd place. So can Louis and Sparks hold it on? And you can just see how slow Louis is now going. So Liam Yeo already back out into 2nd place. Sparks up into 3rd. I think he will carry on. VSR Wayne now up into 4th position, but he's going to be catching Sparks very quickly. 33 seconds now between VSR Wayne and Louis, and it's 26 seconds between Liam Yeo and Louis as well. Sparks still pushing on. Louis knows he's got a gap, a big gap back to Liam Yeo, so he's got to do now. Oh, he's hit the wall at the castle section and damaged his front wing. This is the risk. This is the risk of trying to get to the end on these tyres. I know he's leading the race. I know he's in a favourable position, but now he's going to be going slower and slower. And Louis is at risk here of potentially losing this win if he has another incident into the wall. Could potentially retire from this race as well. So slow through 15, bouncing across the curb. Watch that gap between VSR Wayne and Sparks, but Wayne is right with him now. But watch the gap between Liam Yeo and Louis. Louis knows now if he pits, he's lost this race win. He's absolutely lost it. Sparks is now starting to lose positions on these dry tyres. Lickle up into 4th place, who's hounding VSR Wayne for the final podium spot. Oh, both very wide into the wall. Sparks manages to get through as well. But Liam Yeo is gaining all the time on Louis. That gap is going to be close to 10 seconds by the time they get to the end of the line. Truesdale up past Sparks as well. And I feel Sparks is going to be losing a position to Paris as well. Francis has rejoined the session, so he might have left for whatever reason. And Sparks just managing to make it through there. You can see there that Paris is starting to catch a Truesdale up into 5th. Lickle 4th, chasing Wayne. But nothing they can do about Liam Yeo. It's 10.7 seconds between Liam Yeo and Louis, who's got a bit more damage, I think, on that front right. We've got a yellow flag in sector 3. Who's that for? Someone clipped the wall. It's Sparks, I think, has gone off somewhere because he's now lost that 6th position to Paris. And look at this, Liam Yeo now 6.6 seconds behind Louis, and he's coming up to turn 4. Liam Yeo, I think, is going to be right with Louis. Fair play to Sparks from Shadow about carrying on, and Big C says Liam has it. And I think he does as well. Look at this. He jump on board with Red Bull driver. Oh, Francis has hit the wall. Oh, and he's reversed onto the circuit, and the car hasn't ghosted. And Liam Yeo, oh, look at that. What unfortunate instant that is. Francis has lost it coming out of turn 6, and Liam Yeo has gone into the side of him. The car hasn't ghosted, and now we've got a situation where the leader has got damage on the front wing and on dry tyres, and he's still being chased by the car in second on intermediate tyres and has no front wing. VSR Wayne could now potentially win this race. This is going to be... Oh, no, and Liam Yeo's lost it in the background. He's lost it in the background. There he is on the left-hand side. Liam Yeo has crashed on the final lap. Now, can Wayne do anything about Louis ahead? It's 2.6 seconds. This has been an almighty crazy end to this race. I expected it would be. Louis is so slow. Here comes VSR Wayne, and Sparks has crashed as well. Sparks has crashed in Sector 2, but this is it. This is the run to the line. Louis is so slow, and Wayne has got to pitch this right. It's going to be a drag to the line. It's a drag to the line. Can Louis hold on? He gives him a squeeze. And here comes Lickle up the inside as well. They're almost free wide. There's contact. Lickle and Louis have made contact. They're both spinning and spinning. And Wayne has managed to make it through. He's going to take the race lead. And Truesdale up into 2nd position. And Paris is through into 3rd. Contact between Lickle and Louis has seen them lose a potential race win. Lickle will cross the line in 4th position. And Louis will come across in 5th. He might lose it at the end. He gets in the way of Pog, who crosses the line in 6th. What an almighty last amazing couple of laps we've had here. Onyx crosses the line in 7th. Gonanen picks up his first points of the season in 8th, as does Sterling West in 9th, and Cuba Libre is the last driver across the line. He will pick up his first point of the season. My God, what an absolutely mental race, and a crazy last final couple of laps here. Louis and Lickle crashing on the run to the line, trying to get past each other. And what an amazing end to a fantastic Grand Prix. The chat has exploded. So unbelievable scenes here, and somehow through all of this, after losing his front ring only a few laps ago, VSR Wayne has taken down the race win. Truesdale in all of that as well, back on the podium in 2nd place. And the Renault driver of Paris as well, an unlikely 3rd position. He was about 6th or 7th coming in to the final lap. I'm sure if we watch back at the end of his stream the last couple of laps and see these drivers move up and down the order, an absolutely crazy end to this race. So there we go then, there is the final classification. VSR Wayne does take down the race win and an extra point as well for setting the fastest lap. Truesdale on the podium again in 2nd place, and Paris, his first start of the season, picks up a podium finish. Lickle and Louis crashing, battling for the lead on the run to the line, pick up 4th and 5th. Pog in 6th place. Onyx down in 7th after making 3 pit stops. Gonanen made 4 pit stops and still claims 8th place. Sterling West and Cuba Libre also with their first points of the season. Aaron disconnected from the session. Liam Yeo had a good chance to win at the end there before tripping over Francis and then crashing by himself. Sparks also lost it on the final lap after being brave on those soft tyres. Francis did finish a lap down, and at various stages we lost the key to Rafa, Blizzard, Lambo, Yanul, and It's Me. Do stay with us and I'll get the 3 drivers in for what will be a very exciting podium interview. So again, for whatever reason, Virsar Wayne has not joined the party. It would be nice if he did to get his thoughts as the race winner. But we do have Truesdale and Paris in here as well, who will be probably still wondering how the hell they've managed to finish second and third in that race. So Truesdale, will come to you first of all. But guys, I'll give you a few seconds just to double check your party settings to make sure you've allowed your voices to be shared. You've still got a lot of people watching the stream that want to hear your thoughts. So do make sure you've allowed your settings to share your voice. And Odam's just coming on the chat. They're saying Wayne isn't joining a party because he doesn't speak any English. Okay, fair enough. That's a viable reason. So Truesdale, we'll come to you first of all then. Second place after all that. I can't remember with all the mad scenes that happened in the last couple of laps what position you was in 2 or 3 laps ago. But just talk about the run to the line there. You managed to squeeze past, you know, various drivers there that crashed out, that had an incident towards the line. Second place here. You obviously didn't expect that going into the final lap, but from your point of view, just tell us about your whole race from the start to the finish. Qualifying band started last all the way up into second place. Did you expect this result?
Not at all. It's so difficult on this track to actually overtake, because as soon as people are in a slipstream train, it's very difficult to get past, because I think there were around 6 or 7 people behind each other, and it was just too difficult to close. And in the rest of the lap it was very difficult to overtake as well because of the tight corners, and my mindset was just to stay calm and wait and just to make moves if they present themselves, because I knew there will be chaos at some point, especially with the rain at the end. I think everyone ran dry setups, which makes it very, very difficult to predict where the braking zones are, where grip is and where not. And yeah, it was quite an amazing race, and congrats to Wayne. I heard he didn't use line as well, and his pace was really, really strong, especially in those difficult situations.
Yeah, just talking about the setup there, obviously with it being a wet to a dry qualifying and then obviously a dry to a wet race, was it an easy decision for you to go with a dry setup, or were you tempted to maybe put a sort of a hybrid dry wet setup on to be sort of competitive and have the grip in both conditions, or was it an easy decision for you once you saw the weather screen for both qualifying and the race?
It was difficult, but I chose a very dry setup because I needed the low wings in order to get past people, because the only way is on the main straight, and if you can't close there or can't be close there, it's very difficult to improve on P20. So I had to take a risk, and I also had to drive very carefully in order not to lose the rear, and it was very difficult to judge.
Yeah, obviously a race around Baku, you know, max concentration is sort of needed, you know, for every corner and every lap. One mistake, one snatch break, you can see you into the wall. We saw many drivers make mistakes, certainly towards the end of the race with the changeable conditions. I think you were one of the few drivers that potentially didn't have a front wing change, unless you did and I completely missed it, because quite a few out there did. But middle of the race, you had a good battle there with Aaron Collingwood and Onyx as well. Do you think there that you might have been a bit closer to Wayne towards the end of the race if you hadn't have lost so much time fighting over what was 10th, 11th and 12th at that point?
It was very strange. I think we lost at least 5 or 6 seconds there. It was quite odd. We all three had pace, but for some reason we were just bottling the second sector, all 3 of us. And yeah, then we started fighting more and more, and that cost a lot of time. I think I would have been closer, but I think the win is very deserved for Wayne. He was very quick the whole race, and yeah. But I managed to avoid any wing damage, that's right.
Yeah, exactly. You're one of the few drivers out there that did manage to keep it clean somehow in that very chaotic race. Looking ahead, obviously you keep your number 1 position in the driver's standings. You've lost a bit of a gap back to Wayne. Obviously he won and picked up the fastest lap today, so I think you're around something like 15-16 points ahead. Next race at Spain, completely different ball game to what it is at Baku as well. You're going away in the midweek to do some practice round there, work on fine-tuning your setup, or have you already done the necessary practice you need and you're just waiting now for next week's race?
No, not at all. I have to start all over again, especially after the patch. So I have to train there as everyone else, and I'm really looking forward to it. It's a nice track, but if I'll be quick there, I don't really know. There will be a lot of guys who are very, very quick, and yeah,
Well, for now, congratulations on a very chaotic race, surviving to the end and picking your way through the carnage in the last couple of laps for a very well-deserved second place. And thank you for joining me for the podium interviews.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. That therefore takes us on to an unlikely, it was with a couple of laps to go, an unlikely podium position for the Renault driver Paris. First start of the season as well. Now you've got your wheels and pedals all sorted out. Obviously, you're up to speed with that nice and quickly as well. Again, similar question to Truesdale. Just explain the last couple of laps, how chaotic it was for you, because I think you came from further back as well, and you obviously saw Liam Yost spin out. I think you managed to get past Sparks before he crashed as well, but obviously fighting your way through all the debris and carnage on the run to the line as well. And unlikely third place, but you must be delighted with a great result in your first start of the season.
I was genuinely screaming as I crossed the line. Quite embarrassing, but it was like I was just settling for sixth behind Sparks because I knew Sparks was on the softs when it was just pouring down, so I was just navigated him. I was like, oh well, it's sixth place. I mean, the wing damage put me all the way at the back of the field, so it wouldn't be too bad. And then everyone just started crashing ahead, and it sort of the opportunity materialized, and then as I sort of go for it, I see the free crash in the middle of the straight, and I'm like, Jesus, how's that just happened?
Yeah, I'm sure when everyone does watch back the stream for the last couple of laps, the amazement that I showed as well when the leaders crashed was truly a sight to behold, as it was for you when you passed them all as well. You was up and down in that race like a yo-yo. 1 minute you're third and fourth, and next you're all the way to the back as well. Every lap it seemed when we was watching you was involved in a battle with another car. Was there any point in that race where you could sort of take a 10-second breather, relax and blink your eyes, or was it just one of those full-on action races from start to finish for you?
I was sort of taking it easy after the safety car came out. I was like, because Rafa and I think it was Liam at the time were sort of bolting away on the mediums while I'm on the hards, and I was taking it too easy, and I sort of binned it in the castle, and then from then on it was just focus all the way to the line.
And we've got a question here in the chat from Maxi. What was your thoughts about pitting for the mediums in the middle part of the race? Any reason for that?
I can't pit onto any other tyres because I was on the hards already, and the only ones I can pit onto are either the mediums or the softs, so I just had to put on the mediums and hopefully they'll last to the rain.
So did you not think then to maybe put onto the soft tyres and try to get a bit of an advantage over the other guys ahead of you, then obviously pit onto the intermediates towards the end, or did you just think go for the mediums, play safe just in case we don't have to switch to the intermediates at the end?
I was thinking go for the mediums because the game's a bit unreliable when it comes to rain at the end of the race. Sometimes it might be raining, but the dries are still faster, which is what happened for quite a while. So I was thinking if I do it risky with a two-stop, and it probably just won't pay off.
And obviously, another question from me then quickly. This is obviously your first start of the season. You missed the first three. You've lost your previous teammate Cliffy, who's decided to leave the league. You've got a new one now in Aaron Collingwood. I'm not too sure if you two get on well, or if you're planning on linking up in future test sessions, if you like. But now your season has finally started at round 4, and you've picked up, an amazing third place at the end there. Are you looking to have more performances like this, or do you think tonight was just one of those crazy races where you was either going to, score a great result or be nowhere near the points?
It was an absolutely bonkers race, but I feel even if it had stayed like a perfectly dry race, I'd probably be somewhere about the same sort of position. So hopefully I can have more races like this and stay out of trouble, because I seem to navigate a lot of cars but not get caught up in too many people's incidents.
And consistency is key, is something I always say. Final question for me then. Next week at Spain, looking forward to it. You're going to go away and practice, or have you already managed to get a set up already? Because obviously you're new with the wheel and pedals, so I assume there still needs to be a bit of fine tuning done there with each circuit we go to.
Yeah, I haven't played since the patch 105 where they've boosted all the cars, so I've got to sort of redo all my setups for the calendar. So it shouldn't be too bad, it shouldn't take too long, and hopefully I'll be prepared come Sunday.
Well, hopefully we might see another performance from you and back on the podium again. But for now, congratulations on a brilliant third place there at the end, and thank you for joining me for the podium interviews.
Thanks very much.
Thank you, and that therefore brings the podium interviews and the stream to an end. Thank you very much to every single person that has tuned in. Still got quite a few people watching as well to hear the thoughts of the two drivers in second and third. An absolutely mind-blowing, chaotic race, certainly at the end there as well. Whether we'll see another one like that later on in this season, who knows, but a great performance by the top three to survive the carnage and pick up their podium positions, and commiserations to the guys that were in a good position towards the end that threw it all away with accidents. But that sometimes is what happens in changeable conditions at a very difficult circuit like Baku. My name is Alex Lilliart. Thank you very much to everyone that has tuned in. This isn't the only race tonight, of course. We've got ILR2 and ILR3 kicking off in just over half an hour time, and who knows, we might see some more chaos and carnage in those two races. But for now, this is ILR1 finishing for the week. Thank you very much for tuning in, and I'll see you all at Spain next week at 5 o'clock.